This is the solution to example 6 from notes 5.1, day 2. And here we're asked to sketch the graph of f of x equals e to the x. And in the previous class, we learned how to graph exponential functions in general. Here we have a base of e. Notice that e is about 2.718, which is greater than 1. So this will be exponential growth. So we know approximately what this graph should look like. So let's get a few points on this function. So if I pick x values and then the y values will be e to the x. So if I pick -1 for x, the y value that goes with that is e to the negative first, which is 1 over e. And if you were to punch that into your calculator, it's 1 over 0.2718, which is about 0.37. And it's going to be helpful to know these approximations for a couple values of e. When x is 0, the y value is e to the 0th. Anything to the 0th power except for 0 is 1. 0 to the 0th is undefined. So e to the 0th is 1. When x is 1, we get e to the first, which is about 2.7. And when x is 2, we get e squared, which is about 7.4. So now we're going to go ahead and plot these points. So when x is -1, so I'm going to use the scale of 1 square is 1 unit. So when x is -1, we have 0.37. When x is 0, we have 1. When x is 1, we have e, which is 2.7. And when x is 2, we have e squared, which is about 7.4 or 7.39. So 7.4, I'm going to plot that here. And then we will connect these with a nice smooth curve. And we'll get a typical exponential growth pattern. So this is f of x is equal to e to the x. We have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So does the graph represent exponential growth or decay? I already mentioned this before we started graphing. And we know that this is going to be growth. And that's because the base is greater than 1. And in general, we have y equals a times b to the x. So whenever b is greater than 1, we have growth. Describe how the graph of g of x, so now we're going to have a transformation of 1 plus e to the x, compares with the graph of the parent function, f of x equals e to the x. So what's happening here is the 1 is actually a vertical shift up 1, because we can think of this, normally we would write it as e to the x plus 1. So this graph is shifted up 1. And then what's the equation for the asymptote when this graph is shifted up 1? So in the parent function, we had a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. And in g of x, we'll have a horizontal asymptote shifted up 1, which is y equals 1.